بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. صلاة دائمة إلى يوم الدين. Today we have another hadith about the principles and tenets of Islam and faith. We took the first hadith, the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. بني الإسلام على خمس. Islam is established on 5 pillars. The hadith that was talking about the 5 pillars of Islam: شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله، إقام الصلاة، إيتاء الزكاة، حج البيت، and صوم رمضان. The next hadith is the hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said: الإيمان بضع وسبعون شعبة فأفضلها قول لا إله إلا الله وأدناها إماطة الأذى عن الطريق والحياء شعبة من شعب الإيمان. This hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah, and it is narrated, or this hadith is in the Sahih of Al-Bukhari and the Sahih of Imam Muslim. So we can find this hadith in both kitab of Sahih of Bukhari and Muslim. And such hadith we call muttafaqun alayh, agreed upon. What does the muttafaqun alayh mean? The word muttafaqun alayh means that it has been narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. It has been narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. So they both agreed to report this hadith in their books. And this kind of hadith is a kind of a strong hadith, is a kind of authentic hadith, because it's not just narrated by Muslim only or by Bukhari only. Even though we believe that any hadith narrated in Bukhari, in the books of Sahih of Bukhari, or in the book of Sahih of Muslim, is considered basically an authentic hadith. But if it is narrated by both of them, this means that the hadith is more authentic. Okay. So in this hadith, the narrated by Abu Hurairah, that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-Iman bid'un wa sab'una shu'ba." What does this mean? What does the word Al-Iman bid'un wa sab'una shu'ba? And he mentioned 3 things. The highest or the best of them is to say La ilaha illallah. The lowest or the least of them is to remove harmful objects from the way of people or the road of people. And the haya, which we are going to talk about, is a kind of shu'ba of shu'ab al-iman. Sister Iman, can you please read the translation of the hadith? First of all, can you read the hadith for me?
Yeah, I could try. Let me start where it says, so عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الإيمان بضع وسبعون
بضع وسبعون
شعبة
yes.
ففضلها قول الله
قولوا لا إله إلا الله.
قولوا لا إله إلا الله وضناها إماطة
الأذى
الذي عن الطريق والحياء شعبة من الإيمان. You know, I بتلبك sometimes. I'm so sorry, especially if I'm nervous.
I'm not sure you was trying to read from the Arabic text or the English text, which is
the Arabic. I am trying really hard straight from the Arabic.
Yeah, you can find down below the Arabic text, there is an English text for the Arabic words, which means they use the English alphabet to write the Arabic words. So you can, if you want to.
Okay, I'm looking. Because okay, like in my book, it says okay, hadith number 2, and then it says the translation, but it doesn't give me the transliteration, and I don't mind because I try to,
No problem.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that is because this is the edition you have is a newer one than mine. Okay, so could you that's called transliteration?
Yeah. So yeah, the translation just translated into the English transliteration gives you the literal word as much as they can. Yeah.
Good. Right. Could you please read the translation then?
Yes. It is narrated by Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said, faith is composed of 70 and more branches, of which the highest is belief in La ilaha illallah, and the lowest is the removal of an obstacle from the road, and al-haya is an integral part of faith.
Okay, good. So let's start by studying the hadith, the authenticity of the hadith and the narrator. And then, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen, we can go through the text. First of all, can we consider this hadith as an authentic one?
Yes.
Why?
Because it is translated by Al-Bukhari and Muslim.
Yeah, it is narrated, or they narrated this hadith in their book of Sahih. So if the hadith is narrated by Bukhari and Muslim in their Sahih book, this means that it is an authentic hadith. And also kind of hadith which is narrated by both Al-Bukhari and Muslim, what do we call it?
Isnad?
Yeah, we call it muttafaqun alayh. Muttafaqun.
Oh, muttafaqun alayh. Okay.
Agreed upon, which means the Bukhari and Muslim agreed, both they agreed that this hadith is authentic.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Oh, ittafaqu alayh. Yeah, I get it.
Hadith is muttafaqun alayh. When the hadith is reported or narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, then we call it muttafaqun alayh. Okay.
Yeah, إنه اتفقوا عليهم إنه this is good. إنه اتفقوا مع بعض, right? Like that's what it would translate to.
Mean that they gathered and decided something. They agreed, which means they both narrated it in their books. That Bukhari did this hadith in his book and Muslim did the same. So we consider this muttafaqun alayh.
Okay, got it.
Now we have here also the narrator of the hadith, or the reporter, the Sahabi, who is the reporter of the hadith, who is Abu Hurairah. Abu Hurairah was one of the Sahaba who entered Islam. His main name is Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr. He is from a tribe known as Daws, and he came to the messenger and announced his Islam, took his Shahada at the battleship, or when the messenger was conquering the city of Khaybar. So this Sahabi, the Islam of the Sahabi was a kind of late. So he spent only 3 years with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam before he sallallahu alaihi wasallam died. In these 3 years, he narrated a lot of hadith, and because of this, he narrated the largest number of hadith on behalf or from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if we try to know the number of hadith narrated by every Sahabi, Abu Hurairah will be number one. So here comes the question, or more than one question about the Sahabi. First of all, let's learn about the Sahabi. He was as I said, his name was Abdul Rahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi, known as Abu Hurairah. They said that because he, Hurairah, which means the kitten, the small cat, the young cat. And they said that he had a kind of kitten with, he adopted a small kitten, and he used to take care of it. So they call him Abu Hurairah. And this Sahabi migrated to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was close to the Messenger. He used to stay with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to learn from him. So in these 3 years, he learned a lot from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after the Messenger passed away, he learned a lot from his greatest companions like Abu Bakr and Umar, and narrated a lot of ahadith. Now, how many ahadith did Abu Hurairah reported? Some scholars tried to calculate these ahadith, and they said that he narrated yani, the number of ahadith reported or by Abu Hurairah is 5,374 hadith. So here comes the question: how does it make sense that a man announces his Islam in the last 3 years of the life of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and reported more ahadith than any other Sahabi? For example, some Sahaba were with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam for more than 20 years. Like Abu Bakr, he was the friend of the Messenger even before the prophethood period. How comes that Abu Bakr did not report this number of ahadith while Abu Hurairah did so? How comes that he reported ahadith more than Abu Bakr or Umar or Uthman or Ali or even Anas ibn Malik, the servant of the Messenger who used to serve the Messenger for 10 years? How comes? So some of people tried to make they started to let's say to talk about Abu Hurairah and say that he was inventing a hadith from his own, and he was not a truthful person. They were trying to يعني شو بسموه يعني يطعنوا, which means يعني to make some doubts of his credibility or something like that. So we have to discuss this issue. First of all, are these hadith, is this number correct? Did Abu Hurairah really reported 5,374 hadith? What do you think?
I thought it was 1,074 is what, would it be possible, are you saying, or is it
like logical, this number, or not logical? For example,
yes.
Is this number correct? The number 5,000, did Abu Hurairah really reported 5,374 different ahadith on behalf of the Messenger in these 3 years? يعني this means that he almost reported about let's say في المتوسط يعني balance يعني about 1,500 hadith every year, which means that every day or every other day he about like in 3 years, this is more than 1,500 hadith.
Yeah, so it's a little excessive.
Which means, let's say, if we try to use the calculator here, okay, divided it by 3 years, which means about 1,800 hadith every year. When you divide it on like the Hijri year, it means that there is he should, in average, narrate 5 hadith every day, which is cannot be it does not make sense. So because of this, some specialists studied this number, because this number is narrated by some scholars, some previous scholars, but they found this. The first thing, that let's say that Abu Hurairah, okay, Abu Hurairah had a lot of students. So Abu Hurairah mentioned hadith to 5 of his students, okay? Student number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 of his students, let's say. So everyone will narrate this hadith on behalf of Abu Hurairah. He will say, Here Abu Hurairah is telling the same hadith, okay? But in the books you will find 7 different isnad.
Okay.
So they counted all these isnads as different 7 hadith. But in reality, how many hadith they are?
7.
No, it is 7 isnad for the same.
Oh, one.
One hadith. So because of this, they were not talking about the Matn, they were talking about the isnad. Because of this, this number was huge. Yeah. Actually, the real number was way less than this. It is something between 14 and 1500 hadith that that Abu Hurairah has been narrated. When they narrated these hadith, يعني, in average, every hadith has been narrated by 5, let's say, or by let's say 3 of the narrators or 4 of different narrators. We had about 6,000 different isnad. Does it make sense now?
Yes.
The other thing that these 1400 ahadith or to 1500 ahadith, يعني, some scholars counted them actually, because we have now technologies to count these ahadith. So some of them counted these ahadith narrated by Abu Hurairah, and they found that these ahadith are the exact number of them, let's say, is here is the exact number is 1475. So using the يعني, searching the books of hadith, they found 1475 matn or different hadith of the messenger. So here now we have about 500 hadith every year. It makes a little sense now, but not this only. These hadith, some of them are not of the sayings of the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Hurairah was talking on his behalf. So not all of them are a hadith from the messenger. And not all of them are a hadith that the messenger said. Some of them that Abu Hurairah saw the messenger doing something, which is known as the practical sunnah. So it's not 1500 sayings of the messenger. Some of them are of the sayings of Abu Hurairah himself. Some of them are the actions of the messenger. Some of them are the sayings of the messenger. And some of them are not even authentic. And in many of them, we find that Abu Hurairah was not the only narrator of this hadith. There are other Sahaba who used to narrate these hadith with him. So when we make the search in this way, we find that the number of hadith that Abu Hurairah has narrated from the messenger and no other Sahabi has narrated these hadith were only 110 hadith. Okay? So this is the number that Abu Hurairah was solely narrating from the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What happened to the remaining number? They have been narrated by other Sahaba, and some of them even were not a hadith. Some of them were narrated not narrated, were the sayings of Abu Hurairah himself. Okay. Well, some people will say, okay, but why Abu Hurairah is narrating more hadith than any other Sahabi? We say the greatest narrators of hadith who narrated the largest number of hadith were of the young Sahaba, like Ibn Abbas. We can see here, they are talking here about the numbers of hadith that narrated by Sahaba or reported by Sahaba. We can find that the largest number was, or the greatest number is Abu Hurairah. Then we have Ibn Umar, Anas ibn Malik, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Jabir, Ibn Abbas, Aisha, who were actually young Sahaba. So why young Sahaba are narrating more ahadith than the old Sahaba? Why Ibn Abbas, who met the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 2 years, but he narrated ahadith more than the older Sahaba.
Is it because he converted like late in time and he was trying to learn as much as he can, or is it because as the prophet was trying to get them to get?
Actually, it is because at the beginning, these decades of Islam, the Messenger and his Sahaba were busy in establishing the state, and we're busy in jihad, we're busy in conquering new lands. That is at the time of the Messenger himself, at the time of Abu Bakr, at the time of Umar, and the old Sahaba. While after that period, we have a period where the Islamic countries were like now was strong, and they paid more attention for education. So who was there to teach? Who was there to teach the people who are entering Islam and want to learn?
Yeah, the
Sahaba has already passed away, but we have the young Sahaba who became the teachers. Because of this, the people were narrating from the young Sahaba. For sure, most of these young Sahaba has learned from the old Sahaba, not directly. So they learned a little from the Messenger himself, but they narrated most of the hadith of the Messenger through other Sahaba. So let's say when the Messenger passed away, Ibn Abbas was a teenager, but he started to go to every Sahabi of the Messenger to hear, asking him to tell him or to teach him what he heard and learned from the Messenger. So Ibn Abbas was gathering the knowledge from every other Sahabi until he gathered a knowledge that no other Sahabi has. Is it clear now?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So because of this, Abu Hurairah was doing the same. After the Messenger passed away, Abu Hurairah did not stop. He continued going to the Sahaba and asking them, what did you hear the Messenger, or what did you see the Messenger saying or doing? Teach me. So Abu Hurairah was narrating a hadith he did not hear or see the Messenger ﷺ saying or doing, but he was narrating on behalf of other Sahaba. For example, he used to go to Umar, or for Abu Bakr did not stay too long after the Messenger ﷺ. He passed away 2 years after the Messenger, but he used to go, for example, to Umar, to Uthman, to Ali, to ask them, what did you hear the Messenger? Teach me of what you learned from the Messenger so I can transfer this to other people. So he gathered a lot of ahadith, not from the Messenger directly. He gathered a lot of hadith from the Messenger because he used to stay with the Messenger. Other Sahaba, many of them were busy, had their jobs, had their farms, had to do things. The Messenger used to send them in patrols. For Abu Hurairah, he used to stay close to the Messenger to learn from him. He was a kind of full-time learner with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he used to learn a lot from the Messenger himself, but after that, he did not stop. He continued learning from other Sahaba. Because of this, he narrated more ahadith than any other Sahabi. But this number of ahadith is about, let's say, no more than 1,500. And these 1,500 is not all of them are ahadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some of them are his own sayings. Our own sayings of Abu Hurairah. So let's say the authentic ones, let's say, could be less than 1,000 even. The authentic ones that Abu Hurairah has narrated, here's the number of the real hadith that he has narrated on behalf from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 935. And okay, of these 935, we have 800 and or 725 has been narrated by let's say 825 narrated by other Sahaba. which means Abu Hurairah was not the only reporter of this hadith. Why? Because even maybe Abu Hurairah heard it from other Sahaba, which means there are only 110 hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah solely, which means that no one heard or reported that the Messenger ﷺ said or did these 110 hadith but Abu Hurairah. He was the only narrator for them, which is not a big number. Okay, this is the first idea. The second thing, what like some people try to ambush some narrators of hadith, especially Abu Hurairah, and write books to put some doubt about the authenticity of a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah, because he is the first narrator. He is the biggest narrator of a hadith. So if they are able to destroy the credibility of Abu Hurairah, they can destroy the credibility of any other Sahaba. It's like those who always try to ambush the Sahih of al-Bukhari, because it's the most authentic book of hadith. If they were able to do so, they will be able to destroy any other book of hadith. Okay, now let's go to the text. The Messenger ﷺ mentioned in this hadith that the Iman, I believe your name is Iman. Okay.
Yes.
So what does this word mean? The Iman, the word Iman, what does this word mean? What does go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Iman. I always translate it to faith.
Yeah, they translate it to faith, but Allah described the true believers that they are the ones who believe in the unseen. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب, the unseen.
Yeah.
What does this mean? The unseen is something that you do not see or cannot know in the regular way.
Yeah.
Because it is from a different word. It's from the word of al-ghayb. So now, in this way, if you cannot see something or put it under a kind of experiment to discover it, then the only way to know is through the one who is telling you. So is this one is trustworthy or not? For example, if you are coming to the masjid, but Sheikh Haitham called you and said, don't take the 159. You say, why? He said, no, take the 167, because there is an accident on the 159 and there is a traffic jam and you will not arrive the masjid early. So change your way and come through the 167. It will save you time. So here you are still far away. You do not see the accident or the traffic jam, but you change your direction. Why? Why do you like change your direction depending on the word of someone about something that you do not see? Why would you do that?
Because you trust them.
Because you trust it. If Sheikh Haitham is a person who always jokes with his students and always tells lies, then you will have doubt. You cannot say, no, maybe he's joking with me. But if you know that this person is trustworthy, you will follow. And that is what happened to, let's say, to Abu Bakr. When the messenger came to him, and he was his friend for like tens of years, and told him, I was in the cave of Hira, and the angel came to me, or something came to me asking me to read, and I went to Waraqah ibn Nawfal. He told me that this is the angel who came to Musa. Abu Bakr did not ask him for an evidence. He did not say, how can you prove this? He directly believed in the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Because he knows the messenger more than any other person, and he knows that he will never tell a lie. When you have a friend for tens of years and you find that this person never tells a lie, and he tells you something like that, you trust him. Because of this, Abu Bakr believed in the messenger without seeing any miracle, without asking for any evidence, because he trusted the messenger. This is called Iman. This is called Iman, which means to believe in something that you do not see. It is, and this is the faith. The word faith or Iman is to believe. And when you see the hadith of Arkan al-Iman, the articles of Iman, to believe in Allah. Do we see Allah?
No.
To believe in his angels. Do we see
Course.
to believe in the manuscripts or the books? We don't have. We have some of them which are even changed, not the original ones. To believe in the messengers and prophets. We do not. We just heard about them. To believe in the hereafter. To believe in the qadar. These things are of the world of unseen. So this is the Iman. So the Messenger ﷺ, when he said the Iman is to believe in something which you do not see, because you trust the person who is telling you, this is the main or original meaning of Iman. But this meaning took like a different, let's say, a different or a higher meaning, which means that when you believe, you act, yani, depending on this belief. Let's say if I told you that there is, when you like at the traffic light, you know, there is sometimes in the Google Maps or on the Waze, some people put on the app, they mention that there is a radar, police radar, or a camera in this place. And because you believe these people, you follow, you act depending on this. For example, if they are, say, in this traffic light, there is a camera. So even if you cannot see the camera, but you act depending on that, and you will not cross the red light, because for sure you are not going to cross the red light because you follow the order. But even here, you will be more careful not to cross it by mistake because there is a camera. Even if you do not see the camera, but you know that there is a camera because some trusted one told you about that. So this is the idea that when you believe in something, you should act depending on that. When you trust someone and believe, you should act depending on that. And that is what happens when we have faith. We act depending on our faith. So when we believe in the hereafter, we cannot do anything that like be bad to us in the hereafter, that we can be accounted for in the hereafter. We do the good deeds to be rewarded for in the hereafter, because we believe. If someone does not believe in the hereafter, he may act good because of his morals or manners, but he or abstain from bad things because he believes that these things are harmful, but not because he believes in the hereafter. So this person has no reason about the hereafter to stop doing or something bad or to do something good, unless he is convinced of doing that because of his morals or because he believes that these things are harmful. But if he believes that drinking wine, he does not believe in the hereafter, and he believes that drinking wine will not harm him, he will drink. He's not gonna abstain from it unless he believes in something or in God, and he believes that God made it haram, and then he will stop. He will not ask if this is harmful or not, because the God told you that this is haram, so you trust the God and you trust that He is not making something haram for no reason.
Yes.
Right. But the messenger said that this faith is not something only in your heart, not something you believe in, but something you should act depending on. Okay. So he said there are 70 some, or even in some hadith 60 some parts, or let's say Sha'bah, which means portion or branch or a deed of Iman. There are more than or 70 some, or the word بضع وسبعون, which means between 73 and 79, which means more than 70 types of deeds of Iman. And he mentioned the three of them. Why did he mention these three? We will talk about this. But before that, I have to tell you something, that in the Arabic language, they use the word 70 not to talk about sometimes the exact number. They use the word 70 to talk about that this thing is too much. For example, if you are trying to call someone and he is not answering, and you said, when he answered your phone, you say, I called you 1 million times. So he will say, no, you did not call me 1 million times. It's just 29 times. Did you mean here the exact number?
No, it's exaggerated.
You mean 1 million times, which means a lot of sorry, too many times. Or when you say to your son, I told you 1,000 times not to do this. He will say, no, you did not tell me 1,000 times. You tell me just 10 times. You did not mean the number 1,000. You meant that too much. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, استغفر لهم أو لا تستغفر لهم. For the hypocrites, ask Allah to forgive them or do not. Even if you made istighfar for them for 70 times, Allah will never forgive their sins. Which means the messenger understood that. It's not the number. He said, even if I know that Allah, if I made istighfar for more than for more than 70 times, and Allah will forgive them if I made it 71, 72, 73, 100, I will do. But he knew, the Messenger ﷺ, that even if he made istighfar for the hypocrites for 1,000 times, or even 1 million times, Allah will never forgive them. Why? Because when he said, in tastaghfir lahum sab'ina, if you made istighfar for them for 70 times, he does not mean the number 70, which means even how, it doesn't matter how many times you made istighfar for them, Allah will never forgive them. That's the meaning. So here, it could be the number 70 some, or more than 70, or between 73 and 79, or we can understand it in another way, that the deeds of Iman, sorry, or that the branches or deeds of Iman are too much. So the 70 is not the number 70, which means, but too much. There are many types of things that can reflect your faith. Now, does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, because some people try to figure what are these 70 or more than 70 deeds of Iman, and they started to count the good deeds, and they found that the good deeds are more than 70. But this does not mean the exact number. It means that there are a lot of things that you can do, or you can reflect your faith through them. Which means that faith is something in your heart, but it could be reflected in many ways. The highest thing, because for some people, for some people, they say we have faith in our hearts and we believe. But when you ask them to do something good, depending on this faith, they do not do anything.
Right.
So they say we have the faith. How to prove your faith? If you really believe in the hereafter, you should not take the rights of others. You should not oppress others, because you will be punished for this. If you really believe in Jannah, you have to work for it. If you really believe in the hellfire, you have to try to avoid it. This is the true faith. But if someone, let's say that someone is telling his wife that he loves her too much, but he never brings her a gift, he never say a good word, or he never treat her well, he always treats her badly, in a bad way. And every day he says that he loves his wife, but he is doing many bad things to her. Is this a true love?
No.
He is a liar.
Right.
Because if he really have has some kind of love in his heart, it will reflect in his actions. Yeah, problems could happen, bad things could happen in every family, but he cannot be really loving his wife while he is always doing the bad. He never does something good. And those people who say we love Allah more than the sheikh, we love Allah more than these people who attend the masjid, we love Allah, we have loved, maybe, but if you love the Lord, if you love Allah too much, you have to please him, you have to do something that pleases your Lord, not to disobey him, not to grant his anger or things like that. So Hadith is talking that there are many ways you can reflect your faith through. Some of them is through sayings things. So he said the afdaluha, which is the highest level of them, is to say La ilaha illallah. It does not mean just to say it. To say La ilaha illallah, which means to believe that there is no God but Allah. Because without this word, La ilaha illallah, all other deeds are not accountable, are not considered. Because when you say La ilaha illallah, which means every good deed you do is for Allah, then they will be accounted for you, they will be credited for you. But if someone is doing good things, but he did not say La ilaha illallah or did not believe in Allah, Allah will not reward him for this, because he's not doing these things for his Lord, for Allah. So this is the first thing, that saying La ilaha illallah. He said, and وَأَدْنَاهَا, and which means it does not mean that adnaha, which means it's in a low level. No, it means that it is one of the easiest things that you can do, is to move the harmful objects. If you saw something in the way of people that could harm them, you remove it. For example, you are driving and you saw something in the street that the cars could hit it. If you can stop and put like the flasher and safely go and remove it from the road, you will be rewarded for this. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mentioned that a man was walking in a road and there was a branch of a tree hitting the people, in the way of the people. So everyone will walk in this road, it could hit him. So he moved it from the street or from the road, he moved it away, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him for this with the Jannah. Allah entered him to the Jannah because of this. So this does not mean that imadat al-adha, which is removing removing obstacle or harmful things from the road, which is something not good, not high, but it means that it is something easy that you can do and you will be rewarded for. But he mentioned also something which means that there are things that you can reflect your Iman through sayings and through actions, through deeds, through reflecting, believing in Allah by saying La ilaha illallah, or by trying to help people or remove harmful things. But he mentioned something in between. Something is a kind of moral, which is al-haya. What is haya? The word haya is an Arabic word that you cannot find like an exact translation in English. They say يعني modesty, politeness, or chastity, but the word haya يعني gathers all these things all together. So the haya is to do things which or to abstain from doing bad things, because you يعني you know, abstaining from doing bad things because you don't want others to see you doing these bad things. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned about some of his Sahaba, like Uthman ibn Affan, who was so famous of haya. And by Suhaib al-Rumi, he said that Suhaib al-Rumi was a good servant of Allah. Ni'ma al-abd Suhaib. It is famous hadith. Maybe not authentic, but it is famous that they use it. That لو لم يخف الله لم يعصه. Even if there is no punishment for the bad deeds, he will never do them. Why? Because he has haya of Allah to do this thing, which is, yani, it's like sometimes you know that your father will not punish you if you did not get like a good grade at your school, but you are work so hard to get these good grades to please him. You do not want to fail him. This is to haya. Even if you know that your Lord will not punish you, but you don't want him to see you doing something that does not please him. This is the word haya. And the people could have haya of other people or of the Lord. To have haya of other people is to abstain from things that you do not want other people to see you doing. So this is a kind of haya. Even if these things sometimes are not haram things, but you do not want people to see you doing these things because they are suitable for you. This is not haya. But haya from Allah is to be also to have haya for that you don't want your Lord to see you doing something incorrect or something inaccurate. So this is the level of haya. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that this haya is always khair. Because one of the Sahaba was like blaming his brother about haya. You are always yani have like haya, always have this chastity, feeling like shy, or the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, leave him, because haya is always khair to have haya. But sometimes haya also should have limits. It should not prevent you from doing good things. Sometimes for some people who feel like they just hate to do good things even. And this is, for example, when you have a question about your religion, or some people feel shy to ask about, and they keep doing things in the wrong way. No, here the Prophet said, the ladies of Ansar are the best ladies because when they do not feel shy to ask about their religion. But it's how to ask. You come in a good way to ask without like asking on public or, but you ask in a good way, but you should ask to learn about your religion.
Yes.
So he mentioned that haya is part of Iman, which means when someone has this moral of haya, which means it is a kind of reflecting your faith, especially if this person has haya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he always feels that Allah is looking at him, so he or she always try to do things in the proper way, so they will not feel like embarrassed in front of their Lord. So this is yani about this hadith of Abu Hurairah. Okay, So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
No, I appreciate it. You're pretty clear. I appreciate that and very understanding. So thank you.
Okay. See you then next Saturday, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen. We'll talk about another hadith. And make sure to prepare, because next Saturday, inshallah, we will talk about the chapter 9. I don't know what chapters it is in your book, but it will be about the hadith talking about the prayers. And we will talk about very important things about the prayers. But after that, we will have your hadith, which is chapter 10, the hadith of Anas لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين إن شاء الله رب العالمين. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Let me double check really quick, because I was trying to remember like which one. That wasn't the one that I picked actually. It was the one lesson 11.
Not number 10?
No. It was actually number 11. I did tell you 10 earlier, but I was looking at it and I'm looking at my book and everything. And I know why I picked it. And I was like, you know what? This isn't familiar to me. And I'm like,
11 is so long, and this chapter includes a lot of ahadith. Are you sure?
Yeah, I picked the number 1. And the reason that I did is because of the what it is.
The number 1. Okay, no problem. Yeah, chapter 11. Okay.
Yeah, because that's the one that I have like my notes on and everything, you know. And wallah, when I was looking at number 10,
give me on the WhatsApp the name of the hadith that you want, or take a screenshot or a photo of it, so I know what hadith do you want to, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, explain.
Okay.
Inshallah. Okay, Sister Iman, Allah bless you, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you for joining the class, and see you.
Same to you. Thank you, Jazakallah khairan. I appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.